guys, welcome back to Tierra Gitana. My name is Abby and today we are going to be doing this week's chakra healing video. Let me just put this right here. Okay. This week's chakra healing video, and this week I'm going to use the Santa Muerte tarot deck just because I don't know, it's the last week. This week is the last week that Mercury will be in Scorpio. It's switching over into Sag, is moving into Sag on the 12th, is the last day. So I was just like, I kind of really want to use this deck because I've been getting so many, I've been using this deck a lot lately. So I really wanted to use this deck for the readings this week. I also have the Akashic Records open right now, so we're ready to go basically. Currently the moon is in Capricorn and it's moving into Aquarius tonight. So we'll have an Aquarius moon, then it's going to be moving into Pisces, which is going to be very beautiful. Then it's going to be moving into Aries. So the next time I see you guys, well, for the chakra healing videos, will be when the moon is in Aries, which is always a fun time. Not really, but I guess. Anyway, so I hope that the new moon in Sag was like good for you guys. For the most part for me, I spent most of it like working and just, there was just so much stuff that I needed to do, but it was very water heavy. It's what I noticed. Like last week was very, very water heavy. And I mean, astrologically speaking, there's still a lot of water in the chart, so it's still underplaying the fire basically. So what is our blockage for our root chakra this week? Oh, the Fool. Okay. Starting off, what is our blockage for our root chakra this week? What is our blockage for our root chakra this week? Oh, hold on. Fell down. Oh wow. 3 of Wands and the Fool. That's like definitely a journey that somebody does not want to start for some really weird reason. Okay, how can we best heal our root chakra this week? Some of us are being very stubborn this week from the get-go, which is, I mean, the good thing I can say about that is that that's very earthy to do. How can we best heal our root chakra this week? How can we best heal the root chakra this week? Oh. The Sun. Yeah. How can we best heal our root chakra this week? Best heal. Oh, 2 cards came out in reverse. The Hermit and the 8 of Wands in reverse. Okay. That's a pretty big message right there. Okay. Sacral. What is blocking our sacral space this week? I came out real fast. Hold on. Okay, so the Knight of Cups and Judgments. We're going to talk about this card because it's an ancestor card, so we're going to talk about it. Definitely going to talk about it. I really, really love this deck. Look at how beautiful Judgment looks. Tell me that's not the ancestors. Like, it's so beautiful. How can we best heal our sacral chakra this week? How can we best heal? How can we best heal our sacral chakra? How can we best heal? Oh, okay. 7 of Swords. Okay. How can we best heal our sacral chakra? Okay. High Priestess and 4 of Pentacles. Okay. Addressing the stubbornness. Okay. What is blocking our solar plexus this week? Page of Cups. There's a lot of water, if you have not noticed, throughout this reading, and that's because there's still a lot of water in the chart. Don't forget that Mars is still in Pisces, so there's still a lot of, like, the frustration can't be taken, like, can't be acted upon properly because Mars and Pisces, it does not blend together. But once Mars goes into Aries, it's going to be lit because the fire will be back. Okay, what is blocking our solar plexus? What is blocking our solar plexus? Okay, 7 of Wands, 3 of Swords. Okay. That's a very interesting wound there. How can we best heal our solar plexus this week? How can we best heal our solar plexus this week? That then just flipped. Okay. We have the Queen of Swords, the 7 of Pentacles, and the Queen of Cups. So far it's a very beautiful reading. There's a lot of stuff going on though that it's like underplaying a lot of things, but we're going to talk about it. Okay, what is blocking our heart chakra this week? Blocking, 6 of Wands. So still a bit of the ego. I mean, with the sun coming out as like in the root chakra in the healing, that's like, it's still, the ego's still playing a hand in this, but there's something going on that's a little bit deeper in here. Just blocking our heart chakra this week. So, Page of Wands. How can we best heal our heart chakra this week? The Tower and the King of Cups. There's a lot of water that's being put in the, not just the healing, but the blockage as well. So this, like, literally every water suit, it's like out. it's pretty much like King of Cups, Queen of Cups. They're all out, so it's kind of hilarious. What is blocking our throat chakra this week? What is blocking our throat chakra this week? What is blocking our throat chakra this week? Besides our emotions, apparently. It's a lot of cards, so. What is blocking our throat chakra this week? Okay, okay. The Knight of Swords. You guys see what he's doing there? Yeah, we're going to talk about it. What is blocking our throat chakra this week? What is blocking our throat chakra this week? 8 of Pentacles in reverse. Okay. How can we best heal our throat chakra? Okay. Hold on. So, we got the Queen of Pentacles and the 9 of, no, wait. 6 of Pentacles in reverse. What is blocking our third eye this week? What is blocking our third eye this week? What is blocking our third eye? Queen of Wands. What is blocking our third eye this week? Oh, wait, no. That's too many cards. Literally half the deck just flipped over. So it's like a lot of stuff going on for some people out here. But we're not going to take those. One more card for what is blocking our third eye. What is blocking our third eye? And we have the Empress in reverse. How can we best... Oh, that jumped up mad fast. Okay. Page of Pentacles, 2 of Wands, 10 of Pentacles. Okay, that was a very clear message right there. And for our crown, what is blocking our crown chakra this week? Okay. We have the Hangman, the Knight of Wands, and the King of Wands. This whole reading is about a journey, and I can see it. I can see it from the beginning, from the root chakra, and it just keeps developing on. How can we best heal our crown chakra this week? Child. So Justice, Two of Swords, and the Devil. We're gonna talk about it. Okay, bottom of the deck is the Wheel of Fortune and the Two of Cups. So let me put this over here because this whole reading is going to be crazy. Okay, so what is blocking our root chakra this week? Especially from what I can see from the rest of the readings, there's a lot of stuff going on. Personally, as now, like it's a focus on the journey. Before kind of like anything else, it's mainly focused on the journey, our path, our growth, like where we're going, what are we trying to attain, what are we trying to achieve, what are we solidifying in, what is the next steps. Like if we're talking like Sagittarius energy, it's very much where are we shooting our arrows. Like the sun being in Sag right now is just like kind of trying to push you into thinking a little bit wider, thinking a little bit in a different perspective. Meanwhile, there's so much water still in the chart and so much water still being played throughout the reading that it's like there's still stuff buried down that are still kind of trickling out here and there that need to be addressed. And this week it's really like our blockage is the lack of a direction that we're willing to take. It's our lack of focus, our lack of initiative. We are kind of going with the flow instead of actually making strides to do and kind of set ourselves up for later in a good way. We're not taking the proper steps, we're not taking the proper measures, we're not setting the intention as well, because the Fool is an intention for a journey. We're not setting the intention to go on this journey. Especially with this, the Three of Wands is like, we're not only are we not setting the intention, but we're also not like at the point where we've weighed out our options and picked a direction either where to go. So it's kind of like we're not seeing the positive of anything. We're stuck on the negative. We're stuck. We're just not moving. There's like a weird flow going on, and I can tell you it's because there's a lot of water in the chart, and the water it's there for a reason. One of the things that came up last week during the reading that I mentioned was the ancestors were coming hard last week, and literally the whole entire week last week I was having the most not only prophetic dreams, but I was having direct answers to certain things that I've been thinking about in my dreams with my ancestors present. Like my grandmother showed up in my dreams like 3-4 times last week for different reasons. Like it was intense because I can communicate with my ancestors very easily, whether it's through meditation, whether it's through just prayer, whatever the way it is, candle work, ancestor oil, just working, just praying, just do intention. I can work with my ancestors very easily. But because I've used those tools throughout the year, my grandma has not showed up in my dreams as much as she did this week. Like last week, it was just like every single time, it was just like the presence was there. In one of the dreams, I was kind of battling something. There was like a whole kind of institution that I was kind of going up against, and my grandmother just snapped her fingers and the whole thing started crumbling to the ground. And so I was able to like fight it off in my way. And it's kind of interesting because the whole point of me having that dream, which I got the download afterwards, was we can bend the will. You just need to continue on. Like, we'll clear the way so you can continue to move where you need to move. Like, we can bend will. We can bend it. Like, we have power to do this. Like, don't get frustrated. Don't get stuck in a place where you think that you're kind of in a hopeless situation or there's nothing you can do. We can help you. That was like one of the big things that came up for me last week in one of the dreams that I had. It was very like intense. Like, a lot of the dreams were very, very intense, and it was just like, whoa. But Mercury and Scorpio has been really bringing up a lot of ancestor dream work and like a lot for me specifically. But messages are coming from the unconscious mind, and there's a lot of stuff that it's easy to get bury stuff down at this time because Scorpio rules the unconscious mind. So you could literally, it's a dangerous kind of thing to mess with, because now that Mercury is direct, you can literally start putting traumas there. It's very easy for you to kind of get hurt or get like vengeful with people verbally, where you kind of hold, you're like, oh, that person did that to me, okay, I'll see what I'm gonna do later. And it gets kind of held in the unconscious mind, and then you start acting on it later. There's a lot of, it's a dangerous time, because your mind can literally do this because Mercury's in Scorpio. So for this week, really focus on clearing the little cobwebs, but also not holding on to traumas that you don't need to hold on to. We already went through Scorpio season, and Venus is still going to be in Scorpio till January 7th. So you don't want to like be really, really stubborn when it comes to things that you should heal, like now, currently, as they're happening. Not, oh my god, I have to wait for a retrograde for me to like forgive this person for what they did to me last week. No, just let it go. Go with the flow is the best thing that I can say. But for the root chakra, it's really a lack of direction, and it's a lack of direction because there's frustration here. And then the best way to heal it, which is hilarious, is the sun. So we talked about the ego a lot last week. That was a big focus. Besides the ancestors, we talked about the ego, and the sun rules the ego, and it's also like, it's that thing that really makes you happy. This card is really about happiness, enjoyment, shining the light on certain things, not kind of like addressing the things that need to be addressed, coming into a focus, not just like dismissing it and going to the flow. Like, no, the sun is here, is shining a light. It's tunnel vision, focus on this thing. What are you going to put that light on? That's really what this is saying. And with this, with the Hermit and the Eight of Wands in reverse, it's really saying, well, first of all, you need to come out of the hermit cave that, well, some people have been in a hermit cave. My Virgos out there, I see you, boo. Yeah, I've been in a hermit cave for a hot minute, but it is kind of the time to start coming out of it, especially as the water starts to move out of the chart slowly but surely, and we start to see some movement in some areas, especially when it comes to like that Sag energy. The fire energy is still there, but it's asking us not to necessarily come out and move too fast, but to move in, to take it kind of step by step. Like, start addressing this issue here. Start addressing the lack of movement, the lack of choices. Start addressing your choices without, you know, just picking something really fast and just moving on it. You've been to the hermit thing, you've lurked, come out of it, and then really focus on planning out what your next move is. And as we move into Capricorn season, we're going to actually talk about this, because this is something that Capricorn does probably the best out of any other sign. Not being biased. I'm not being biased, but it is just, it's just facts. So, I mean, I'm not being biased, but I'm just saying. We're going to talk about it more during Capricorn season, because the first part of the year, of the first half of Sun being in Capricorn, is all about planning. It's not about moving or the cardinal energy. No, it's planning first, executing later. So we're going to break it down as we move an inch closer to Capricorn season. For our sacral space, though, we have the Knight of Cups and Judgment, and this is really what I was just talking about when I was explaining the story. The ancestors are really present right now as far as helping you and assisting you with whatever it is that you want to do, if you reach out and if you actually take the time to, you know, do your due diligence and be present in the situation. It's necessary right now for us to kind of like not get stuck, not feel like we're stuck, but actually go with the flow and start to see where we want our journeys to go, what it is that we're feeling, where our direction is going, what emotions are we holding on to that need to be let go, so we can think clearly, so we can focus on something else. This is something that the ancestors are there and ready for you to help you assess, to help you make the next step, to help you move. I would definitely recommend, especially for the sacral space this week, to do some ancestor work. Whether it's like earth magic or water magic, I would definitely recommend like a spiritual cleanse or a spiritual bath, something of the sort. It could be tea if you don't have the time to do all the things, but definitely before the 12th, I would say before Mercury leaves, which is on Wednesday, try to just do like a cleanse, whether you're asking for clarity, you're asking for peace, whatever the case may be. Just get your mind straight when it comes to this, because there's the blockage is really an overwhelming emotional, like, it's just like we're drowning in our emotions this week. We're drowning in the water, in the kind of like the trap of what it is. Because if you're in the middle of the ocean, where are you going? How are you going to get out of there? So it's kind of like, it's so easy to get stuck there when you can easily ask for assistance in the middle of your ocean. And that's really the answer this week: connecting, asking for help, asking for guidance from those who need, like, to have access to it, whether it's getting a reading, or whether it's like, yeah, whether it's getting a reading, you see divination, whether it's just meditation, whatever the case may be. It's definitely necessary this week. So the way to heal that this week, we have the Seven of Swords, the High Priestess, and the Four of Pentacles. So we're definitely being asked to meditate, asking to connect, asking to, whether it's connecting with somebody who is a high priestess to you in your eyes. That could be someone who reads tarot, does astrology, is a healer, whatever the case may be. Spiritual leader in some way where you can get that guidance that you need. It's asking you to connect this week in order to address what has been running away with your thoughts with the Seven of Swords, because this is not just lies, but this is also things and situations that have been running away with your mind, so much so that you cannot act on any other part of your life, because you're stuck in this kind of recurring loop of that. So this week is saying, really re-ground yourself in the energy of, like, instead of letting water drown you, remember that it's a divination tool, like, as it is a cleansing tool, is a divination tool. It's asking us to connect back, to reground, to refocus on ourselves, refocus on what we know. How can we use the knowledge that we have, our intuition? How can we best connect and use the tools that we've already gathered with the Four of Pentacles? How can we really use what we've already gathered in order to make the best decisions moving forward for ourselves? That's what this is saying. So if you already know how to connect, if you already know how to do certain things to heal yourself, you're going to need to do that this week. That's really one of the biggest focuses. For these solar plexus, we have the Page of Cups, the Seven of Wands, and the Three of Swords. So this is definitely a situation where our will, how do I say it? This is a very innocent situation where, because the Page of Cups is always, it comes from a place of innocence. It doesn't come from a place of malice. It doesn't come from a place of trying to be a certain way, or trying to be like manipulative or anything like that. This is nothing like that. It's just mostly like something happened where something was initiated from very innocent feelings, very innocent, like your will was pure, and it acted out of a sense of purity of sorts, and it's been kind of hard to kind of stay above acting in the way that you chose to, so much so that is literally bringing a lot of mental agony to your, not only mental space, but emotionally, is why we're kind of feeling blocked in our will space, why we haven't been able to make moves, why our root chakra is blocked. There's definitely a sense of getting punished for being innocent, for thinking innocently, for not having a bad intention, and having to like really kind of pay the price of something that you shouldn't even have to be paying, but for some reason you are, and this is just like a weird, it feels like a very weird karma, but it's still there, and it's still very present. And the way to heal that this week, we have the Queen of Swords, the Seven of Pentacles, and the Queen of Cups. So this is really about balancing your heart and your mind space, and getting so clear on it that you're setting new intentions, and as far as how you're gonna move forward in the next step for this. Like, how are you gonna let something like this happen again? Was this a lesson in a way of who to trust with your intentions, where your will, where you're placing your drive to. Is just kind of like a, damn, somebody taught me a lesson? Or is this a situation where it really just taught you to kind of put yourself first and defend yourself and be strong and be bold, not only in your emotional state but in your mental state, to be clear, concise, say what you mean, execute it. If it is what it is, you meant it, you were honest, you shouldn't have to feel crappy about something that you were honestly was not something that like it wasn't your fault at all. Like, it came from a place, you shouldn't feel guilty about when you're coming from a place of honesty and just authenticity and being genuine. You shouldn't feel guilty about that. So come back into your power of knowing who you are as a person, and really, instead of kind of, that's kind of the thing, plant the seeds of coming back into your power. Work on self-care this week, especially for the solar plexus, because it needs a lot of like more empowerment and balance in that space, because this situation is just like, it wasn't fair to you. But moving forward, how are you going to move forward from this? Are you going to hold the grudges that we were talking about earlier? Are you going to let that go? Are you going to just be like, okay, well, you know what, I learned a lesson, I'm going to move forward, clear-headed, clear space, I'm not going to let this get to me, etc., etc., let's go. And planting the seeds into the next, not just letting yourself soak in a kind of recurring mental agony type of thing, because it's just not working at all. For our heart space, we have the Six of Wands and the Page of Wands. So because our willpower is shot, and again, the Wands, that is fire, so that it's definitely addressing the solar plexus energy here. And we have a lot of wands from the root chakra. So because our willpower has been blocked this week, our heart chakra has been blocked this week. And it's really about, with the Page of Wands, because the Page of Wands is an initiation, and the Six of Wands is always, to me, a very egotistical card, because the guy is always on a high horse, and he's just walking over by a parade, and he's just like, you know, it's almost like a performer. Like if you go to a concert or something, it's like that person's ego feels good when people are showing up, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like you initiated something that was out of your ego, but it didn't really go as well. And so that goes hand in hand with the solar plexus part of this reading. So in our heart, we feel our ego is a little bit like wounding us emotionally, wounding us in a way that's not necessarily, it's just not necessary for us to do. The way to heal that this week, we have the Tower and we have the King of Cups. So again, we have the Queen of Cups in our solar plexus, we have the King of Cups in our heart space, coming back into our power, understanding our emotional state, understanding our willpower, not letting this turn into a trauma, but instead saying, you know what, I forgive this person for whatever they did, I forgive this group of individuals for whatever they did, I meant the best, and you know what, they didn't take it that way, but moving forward, I know better, and this is how I'm going to move forward from this. Like, boom, 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 boom. Because this was a situation that really kind of, it was a blindsiding situation. This is Uranus right here. This was just came out of the blue, like, wow, I can't believe you took that way. I can't believe you thought that I would feel like I would do that. And so it doesn't feel good, but we need to make ourselves feel good. So self-care is a big one for this week. For our throat chakra, hold on, we have the Knight of Swords and then the Eight of Pentacles. So there is kind of like a almost this was weird, because when I first saw these two cards, I was like, we done said something, like it's like a situation where it's very Mercury retrograde-ish as per last week, but this week it's kind of like we don't even feel like saying anything, because it's coming from a place of not being grounded, as well as coming from a place of frustration, because of this Eight of Pentacles. It's just coming out of a place of frustration and not getting what we want in the situation. So it's kind of like, you know what, I didn't even get what I want. I'm not even going to talk to that person. I'm not even going to address this person. I'm not even going to say what I wanted to say, even though what you want to say might be a little bit aggressive and a little bit more hurtful not just for the other person, but to you as well, because the Knight of Swords comes in and cuts through everything. He doesn't care. So there is kind of like a trying to restrict our communication, but only seeing it from a perspective where communication has to be a negative thing instead of it being a healing thing. And that's what's blocking us this week with our throat space. Now, the best way to heal that this week, we have the Queen of Pentacles, and then we have the Six of Pentacles. And what this is saying, because obviously there's been the situation has been imbalanced, understanding how it didn't go your way, but again, with all these queens and kings, especially with the water, but with the Queen of Pentacles, she's very grounded. So it's about coming back into your power grounded wise. Like, you know who you are, you know what you did, you know what was said, but you know what it is. Like, if somebody was not fair to you, if the situation was not fair to you, then you already know, like, ultimately you know who you are. Heal from the situation and allow yourself to be more empowered by it, instead of giving the power and tipping over the power to the other person and having the upper hand. Because with the Six of Pentacles, there's always somebody having more than the other person. In this case, give the person no power over you. Give them that knowledge by just being yourself, like going about it like if nothing has happened. Like, if you have to say something and just be like, hey, you know, I forgive you, out for whatever the case may be, that's cool. But don't get caught up in the, oh, you know what, that person wasn't fair to me. And like, okay, that person wasn't fair to me, but you know what, I'm still a freaking boss, so I'm gonna just do me, focus on me. And if they come around, I'm gonna just be like, you know, nah, I don't have time for this. I don't have, like, don't give people more of you. Come back to you. That's really where it's at with our throat chakra. For our third eye, I was laughing earlier because this is funny. We got the Queen of Wands and the Empress in reverse. So there, again, we need to self-care this week. Heavy self-care. Coming back to our power, coming back to our divine power, because Empress is very divine, feminine energy. And for my guys out there that watch these videos, you also have to heal your divine feminine energy. So please practice self-care. But with the Queen of Wands, there's like again, our will is shot. That's why our root chakra is looking the way it is. Our will is shot. So we're not acting, we're not moving, we're not initiating, we're not making moves, drives, whatever. We're just not doing it. So for our third eye, it's really like saying, hey, you don't practice self-care. You can't, if you don't take care of you, your spirit will not also be taken care of for you to be using this specific area of our chakra, like a specific area of our gifts. We cannot use this if we're imbalanced with ourselves. Like, if we feel this slow that we can't even come back into our power and be like, okay, well, I'm here. Like, okay, this happened, but I'm still here. Like, you don't, this situation is not the end all be all for who you are. And that's what this is saying. It's like, in the blockage is like, okay, this is like not only blocking your journey, but it's blocking how you feel about yourself. And it was an unfair situation, and you should not beat yourself up about it. That's really what the third eye is saying right now. Like, it's in the blockage because you've let this get to you this bad. You've let this get to you this bad. The best way to heal that this week, we have the Page of Pentacles, the Two of Wands, and the Ten of Pentacles. Refocus on the goals. We're going to be learning this lesson through Capricorn season. For my fellow peoples out there who are not Caps, we're going to be doing this all over again. The lesson comes back. December happens to be one of the most depressing months of the year for a reason, because people kind of start ending the year and thinking all these negative things, and it's like, no, but we're not doing that. Instead, what we're going to do, we're going to replant some seeds. We're going to think future-wise. What are we doing? What is my next goal to get to this Ten of Pentacles? What am I going to do moving forward? Go back to the journey that we have been blocking ourselves for. Go back to the journey. Go back to how you're going to get from 0 to 100. That's really what this is saying. Especially with the Two of Wands. We had the Three of Wands in the blockage and the root chakra. In the throats, in the third eye, it's saying, okay, you have to go back to your journey. That's what the message is to heal this. In order for you to be able to address where your areas of healing, you need to focus that power back onto yourself. That is ultimately the way that we're gonna get to the place that we need to get. For our crown chakra, we have the Hangman, the Knight of Wands, and the King of Wands. So you see how there's been fire, water. You look at the sky, fire, water, and then you have like earth underlining a lot of the little messages. That's because that's how the chart looks like right now. So astrologically, we're getting really affected right now. So with this King of Wands energy, is like it's in the blockage. Is like, first of all, the Hangman summarizes the entire reading with one card, because we are stuck. We are letting ourselves be stuck. Even though the Hangman hints at illumination and coming out of it, being stuck, but illuminating an area where we can actually think and get ourselves clear. It's in the blockage because it's not being, the energy is not being used properly, because our will is not being used properly. So the best way to heal that this week, we have Justice, Two of Swords, and the Devil. And this is interesting because this is both Libra and Capricorn energy. This is both cardinal energy. Moon's in Capricorn right now too, so that's kind of interesting. But this is what you need to take from this. One, we have these two cards have to deal with karma, because Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, Lord of Karma, and Justice is also karma. But because it's very karmic, you need to understand that you kind of need to let the universe deal karma as it comes. You can't always take it upon yourself or want to see the karma or want to see the pain in for someone else who's wronged you. And I've told, this is crazy because that's the message I gave my sister last week for a reading that I gave for her. But it's very much like she was in the situation where she was like, you know, this person hurt me and I want to see them like get what they deserve or whatever. And I was like, you're never going to be put in the situation where you get to see that. The universe will not put you in the front seat if it doesn't have to. If it doesn't have to teach the person a lesson in a way that you need to see it, it's not going to do it. You need to focus on you. And that's exactly what the whole reading is about. It's like, focus on you, like disconnect from that which has been dragging you and making you question your power, and understand that justice will be served regardless of what happens. You need to still balance yourself. Your spirit still needs to be balanced. You can't just give everybody your power. That's not how it works. You can't just be like, no, I'm going to disconnect. I'm going to be mad. I'm going to like this is just how frustrated I am. You can't do that. It doesn't help you in the long run. It doesn't help you in the larger scale of things. It needs to come back to you. And that's kind of the message for this week, for our sacral, not for our sacral, for our entire chakra space. So really quickly, I'm going to pull the Enchanted Oracle card. Because I really like using this deck for you guys, because I just feel like it's super accurate. Okay. So, message, oh god, that came out real fast. Okay, this is interesting that this is a card that came out. So Moonlight, it's about, I'm not going to read it to you because I know I've pulled this for you guys enough to know what it's about, but it's about intuition. It's also about working with the moon. We're going to do this a video that I'm going to put up tonight so that you guys can do, there's a spell that I'm going to share with you guys. We're going to talk about it, but I'm going to kind of address this in a different video for this week while Mercury is still in Scorpio, because it's important for us to work with the energy while it's still there. So we're going to talk about this a little bit more, but this is about working with your intuition. This is the High Priestess energy that came up. Working with the moon, healing yourself with the moon. The moon's going to be in Aquarius and then Pisces. So Pisces is a really good time to do that healing work that needs to be done. So we're going to talk about it in that video that I'm going to post today. So it's kind of hilarious how I picked today to do it and then it goes hand in hand. So anyway, I will see you guys in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe.